Now that we have already discussed plant-like protists, we are left with two more groups of protists. The first one is fungus-like or consumer decomposer protists, and the second one is animal-like or protozoan protists. Okay. Today we will briefly discuss the details of fungus-like or consumer decomposer protists. Why they are known as fungus-like or consumer decomposer protists? Reason being, these organisms they resemble fungi, okay, and they also resemble animals. That is why they are known as consumer decomposer protists. Since animals are consumers, fungi are decomposers, okay, these organisms possess the qualities of both consumers, that means animals, as well as fungi, that means decomposers. That is why they are known as consumer decomposer protists. Now, the details of fungus like protists or consumer decomposer protists. They share the characters of both fungi and animals. They have the qualities of both fungi as well as animals, and because of this peculiar feature, because of this unique feature, they are specifically named as fungus animals. Now, their distribution. Most species of consumer decomposer protists they are present in terrestrial habitats, and in the terrestrial habitats you can find them in cool, moist and shady places like decaying logs, barks and the humus present in soil. Now the details of slime molds, which is one of the major groups of consumer decomposer protists. The vegetative parts of slime molds do not possess cell walls. जो vegetative parts होते हैं, they don't possess any cell walls. But the spores of these slime molds, they have cell walls composed of cellulose, and the chitin is entirely absent in the spores of cell walls. Sorry, cell walls of spores. Okay, the chitin is entirely absent in the cell walls of spores. These slime molds they occur as free living multinucleate amoeboid mass of protoplasm, which is called as Plasmodium here. Multinucleate mass of protoplasm, these are different nuclei, or they occur as aggregation of amoebae, which is known as pseudoplasmodium. If there are a number of amoeba, these amoeba they will aggregate here, they will aggregate and form a multinucleate mass. That at that time this multinucleate mass which has formed as a result of aggregation, this is known as pseudoplasmodium. The slime molds they exhibit wide range of coloration. They have a wide range of coloration patterns because of the presence of a pigment known as anthracene. Here you can see they exhibit different color patterns. Since they lack chlorophyll and are not able to manufacture their own organic food material, they live as saprophytes. They live like fungi. Okay, they live on dead decaying organic matter, although there are some exceptions. For example, few of these slime molds they live as parasites on algae, other fungi and some plants. The mode of food absorption occurs by engulfing the food particles, solid food particles. Okay, although they live as saprophytes, they live on dead decaying organic matter. The mode by which they absorb, or you can say they get the food, it is by engulfing the solid food particles. That means they are phagotropic like animals. Okay, the food they have obtained it is stored in food vacuoles and later on it is digested. Now their reproduction. Reproduction occurs both by asexual as well as sexual means. Asexual reproduction occurs by fragmentation, when the body of the slime mold it breaks down and each fragment is capable of producing the new organism, and it can also take place by the formation of spores. Now the sexual reproduction occurs by the fusion of gametes, and the gametes can be either biflagellate swarmers or mixed amoebae. Okay, here we are going to talk about the two types of slime molds. One is acellular and second one is cellular slime molds. First we will talk about acellular slime molds. Acellular slime molds, they occur as slimy masses on damp places which are rich in organic matter. Acellular slime molds, they can be found as slimy masses on damp places, that means moist places, which are rich in organic matter. The somatic or diploid phase of these acellular slime molds consists of a free living mass of naked multinucleate protoplasm called Plasmodium. And the examples are Physarum and Fuligo. जो सोमैटिक फेज होता है या डिप्लॉयड फेज होता है इन एसेलुलर स्लाइम मोल्ड्स का, इट कंसिस्ट्स ऑफ ए नेकेड multinucleate mass of protoplasm which is called as plasmodium. Here you can see, we will also talk about its life cycle. Okay, this is the plasmodium, multinucleate naked mass of protoplasm, that is known as plasmodium. And this plasmodium, it later on undergoes development and forms the sporangium or fructifications. Okay, and in a sporangium spores are formed after meiosis. याद रखना, after meiosis spores are formed. And these spores, they are haploid. The spores germinate and they can either give rise to mixed amoeba here, or they can give rise to swarm cells. Swarm cells are those cells which are flagellated cells. Okay, now the mixed amoeba, they can divide and give rise to a large number of mixed amoeba, and finally the mixed amoeba, they undergo plasmogamy. Plasmogamy means two mixed amoeba, they fuse, their contents they mix. Okay, first of all their cytoplasms they mix, then after the mixing of cytoplasm, the nuclei of these cells they fuse, and this results in the formation of diploid zygote. Okay, this results in the formation of diploid zygote, and this zygote, it will later on give rise to the plasmodium bag. Okay, and same is the case with these swarm cells. Two swarm cells, they fuse with each other, their cytoplasmic contents they mix. This is followed by the fusion of their nuclei, and this results in the formation of zygote, and this zygote later on gives rise to plasmodium. Okay, I will discuss these details once again. Here you have plasmodium, and this plasmodium simply consists of a free living mass of naked multinucleate protoplasm. It is a multinucleate protoplasm, and you have to remember that the nuclei, they are diploid. Okay, the nuclei are diploid because they have formed as a consequence of karyogamy here. Okay, zygote में भी meiosis नहीं हुई है. So all the nuclei which are present in this multinucleate protoplasm, they are diploid. This multinucleate mass of protoplasm, which is naked, which does not contain any cell wall, it undergoes development and results in the formation of fruiting bodies or sporangia. In each sporangia, the nuclei, diploid nuclei, they undergo meiosis and result in the formation of haploid spores. Now the haploid spores, they germinate. They can either give rise to mixed amoeba, or they can also give rise to swarm cells. The mixed amoeba, they undergo mitosis and result in the formation of a large number of mixed amoeba. Finally, some mixed amoeba, they come in close contact with each other, their cytoplasms mix. This is followed by fusion of their nuclei. This results in the formation of diploid zygote. And same is the case with swarm cells. Two swarm cells, they fuse with each other, their cytoplasmic contents mix. This is followed by fusion of their nuclei, and ultimately you get the zygote here. Okay, and this zygote it later on divides, its nucleus divides multiple times, and this results in the formation of Plasmodium back. Okay, so this cycle continues. Now, cellular slime molds. Cellular slime molds occur in the form of haploid, uninucleate, naked cells covered by plasma membrane. जो cellular slime molds है, they occur in the form of haploid, uninucleate, that means they possess one nucleus, and naked cells. Naked cells means they do not have any cell wall. They only have the cell membrane. Here you can see. Okay. These cells are called mixed amoebae. These cells, they are called mixed amoebae. They possess pseudopodia-like structures. They are called mixed amoebae, and the examples in this category include Dictyostelium and Polysiphondylium. Sorry. Okay. Now their life cycle, or you can say their reproductive cycle, how they reproduce. First of all, you have here a single cell, haploid cell, which is known as mixed amoebae. This haploid cell, it cannot form the spores on its own. Instead, a large number of other cells of same sort, इसी तरह बहुत सारी cells होती है mixed amoeba. Okay, there are a number of mixed amoeba which come close to each other and they aggregate. This aggregation results in the formation of a multinucleate mass of protoplasm. But this multinucleate mass of protoplasm, it is not known as Plasmodium. It is known as pseudoplasmodium. It is known as pseudoplasmodium because it has resulted as a consequence of aggregation of many mixed amoebae. And this pseudoplasmodium later on, it undergoes through slug stage. It forms a slug-like structure, and this slug-like structure later on forms the fruiting body or sporocarp. It forms many fruiting bodies. Here we have already shown one sporocarp, and inside this sporocarp, spores are formed, and these spores, they germinate, and from the germinating spores, the mixed amoeba comes out. So this completes the life cycle of the cellular slime molds. Now we will briefly explain it once again. The cellular slime molds, they occur in the form of haploid, uninucleate, naked cells covered by plasma membrane only. This one. These cells, they are known as mixed amoebae. A large number of mixed amoebae which are present in the same environment, they aggregate and form pseudoplasmodium. And this pseudoplasmodium, it assumes the shape of a slug. Then later on, it forms fruiting bodies or sporocarps. And inside the fruiting bodies or sporocarpus, spores are formed. And these spores, they later on germinate. And from the germinating spores, you can see the mixed amoebae, they come out. Okay, so this completes the life cycle of cellular slime molds. With this, we have finished consumer decomposer protists, and in the next part we are going to talk about animal like protists. Till then, stay blessed and God bless you all.